Sailors and pirates and scalawags we, in the dark Caribbean, on a roiling sea. Our health is low and the danger's high. There's so many ways to die. There's 5 in the crew, what are we to do? We've been blinded by a bilge rat, crunched by a croc, drowned in the droppings of a seagull flock, stung by the jellyfish hung from a rail, battered by a barnacled humpback whale, stabbed in the groin with a rusty pitchfork, keel-hauled under a Spanish man-o'-war. Our health is low and the danger's high. There's so many ways to die. There's only 4 left on this bloody poop deck. We've been obliterated by an obscure oyster cult, mashed by a marrow mortal, quite an insult, electrocuted by an eldritch eel, an ancient elder our souls did steal, livers all black from years of rum. I just found out where scurvy comes from. Our health is low and the danger's high. There's so many ways to die. We're down to 3 on this forsaken sea. We've been bitten on the back by a banded sea crate, drawn and quartered by an angry sea wraith, shot in the gut with a cannonball, carried off whole by a carrion crow. Our lungs all filled with wet consumption, shocked by a shoggoth. Now isn't that something? Our health is low and the danger's high. There's so many ways to die. It's just us 2, we are so doomed. We've been gnawed on by a necro swine, pickled in a barrel of bile and brine, garroted by a gorilla crab, smashed so flat by a coral slab, burning under the sun in a gibbet cage, feeling the wrath of a mermaid's rage. Our health is low and the danger's high. There's so many ways to die. Now it's just me, it's time to flee. But I've been chomped in half by a fossil shark, chained in the well of eternal dark, stoned to death by a mad Jamaican, got heart disease from too much bacon, swung from a noose which did not slacken, gored by the beak of a love-crazed kraken. My health is low and the danger's high. There's so many ways to die. Well, you could complain that life's not fair, but the angry sea, it just don't care. My health is gone and the end is nigh. In the dark Caribbean, so many ways to die. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When I was but a wee boy, my father said to me, "Son, for generations we've sailed upon the sea, but danger's out there lurking to send you to the grave. So learn your ABCs, lad, perhaps your life you'll save. Now sea monsters they come in many shapes and sizes. Let's review them all now so there be no surprises. A is for albatross, hung around your neck. B is for bilge rat on a briny shipwreck. C is for Charybdis, hiding under a rock. D is for deep ones, in the great abyss they stalk. E's for ancient elder, who'll try to steal your soul. F is for a fossil shark, who'll try to eat you whole. G is for giant squid with tentacles of steel. H is for hydra with many heads that kill. Some monsters be above ya, some monsters be below, but the monsters that'll get ya are the monsters you should know. I's for infernal pelican, who's got a massive beak. J is for jellyfish, whose sting will make you weak. K
over us.
Oh, right.
Arr.
Good evening, Matt Rose here. And tonight we are going to be hopefully finishing up Sir Raton. And this is a character that was designed by Pascal Raber, also known as the Bleached Eye on Instagram and YouTube. He's an amazing artist. And Pascal was kind enough to allow me to model a bunch of his characters. So if you go to the YouTube channel and go under videos, you'll see a bunch of the dungeon diving videos. And all the dungeon diving videos, the characters are based on Pascal's art. So tonight, yes, more possum rat. Thank you, technical director Jenny. We'll try to make him a little bit more rat-like. I'm gonna start working on his cowl, and let's see here. All right, so, oops. All right, so I'm gonna start working on this. Okay, so you should try to round the pointed end of the ear. Well, let me work on the his leather armor, and then we will work on getting him to look more rat-like. Okay, and where were we? So I need to mesh this. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Blender, basically Blender is it's a full modeling animation CG tool like Maya or 3D Studio Max, but it's free because, you know, you got 4 kids in college. Money can be a thing. All right, so that already kind of smoothed it out. So basically we increased the resolution of the, so just as an example, we'll undo that. So there you can kind of see it's pretty coarse geometry. And then we're going to come back over here to sculpt mode. And that kind of gives you an idea of what it's going to remesh that. Okay, so basically I'm just going to kind of flatten out, and then I want to put a crease here in the cowl. So in his design, he has the cowl coming up really high. If I'm gonna do that, I'll have to change the head shape so that the ball and socket joint has a way to function. So this rectangular cube here represents the place where the ball and socket joint's gonna go. So when you're designing a puppet, you have to figure out, okay, how are things gonna move? So if I want to bring this cowl up, I'd have to kind of either change kind of the orientation of his head, or maybe bring the cowl back and get rid of some of the mesh behind him. But so, well, we're gonna make a decision here. His head kind of sits flat on that, so maybe let's do this. Let's get a little bit of, there's object mode, select his head there, sculpt mode. So let's pull, and I still have mirroring on, so let's pull a little bit of this material back so that maybe we can bring the cowl up a little bit more on the back. Okay. And if you hit the shift key, you can basically smooth out the mesh a little bit. And then I'm using the G key, which is grab. So it's just pulling that mesh in a little bit. All right, so might be able to pull some of that cowl up. It's got kind of big shoulders if we want to emulate that. The other thing is, in my puppets, when I design my puppets, come on, laptop. I go for a third of the head, in relationship to the entire height of the puppet. 1/3 is head, 1/3 is torso, and 1/3 is legs. So Pascal didn't draw this drawing with the intention for it to be making a puppet. He just draws stuff, and it's kind of clever and inspirational. So I just kind of have to work around that. All right, so I think then what we'll do is we'll select this, and there's a command to move objects within Sculpt, but I forgot what it was. I should do some research before I think I want to put this on. So that's the mirror. So you can see the 2 yellow dots there. So if I do something here, it's going to do it on the other side of that mesh as well. Try to make it symmetrical. Okay. So the Dungeon Diving series, obviously inspired by D&D, but almost, I think pretty much all of the videos I've made, they're dad jokes. I think there's like 365, 370 videos on the channel. Most of them shorts or compilation of shorts. There are a couple of, there's like, I don't know, 15 to 20 long form videos, but in the end, it's still dad jokes. I do have a couple of projects that are more dramatic story based. There's still what we call Whimdark, which is a play on Grimdark. And so we've got a Napoleonic Turn-Up 28 project called Tuberville 1815. Got a kind of a 1490 Doom inspired project called Grimwald's Keep. And then we've got a World War I kind of trench crusade project called Trenchfoot. And I have some artists overseas helping with those puppets. So on those puppets, we worked with, will that hat he's wearing be separate? So the cowl or mask, I guess maybe it's a mask he's wearing. You can see that I've kind of modeled a bit of that on there. And then I think what I'll end up doing is make a place where maybe like around here by the end of his upper mandible or his jaw there, I might make a place where I can put some more flaps to kind of hide the axle point for his lower jaw and to maybe mask the ball and socket a little bit. Again, this I've been doing this for 2 years. Each of the puppets gets a little bit more convoluted, or not convoluted, but a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Fancier? I don't know. But ultimately, sometimes it's hard to talk and think. Technical director Jenny can vouch for that. More complicated, with more action and stuff, but I tend to focus on the feel of the puppet and the design of the puppet than I do about making it animatable. And I do have like a $3,000 puppet. Most of these puppets are $1,000 puppets between artwork and materials. And on a lower budget, this isn't a huge budget project. It doesn't make sense for me to like hire sculptors like Mark Spess. Now, some of the projects that are larger in scope, I've had Mark do the puppet design. I end up printing the puppets. He and I kind of talk about what we want the puppet to do. But, I mean, he's an amazing sculptor. But on the dungeon diving stuff, it's pretty much just been me. And so here I am on Blender. Okay, so I want to, I'm going to hide this. I'm going to go over here and pick this. Come back to sculpt mode. So this series here, I need to undo that. I want to do this symmetrical. I have a castle I need to shoot. I have a couple of day job things I need to do the next couple of days, so I may not have time to do that. Probably Thursday or Friday I'll start shooting the castle, and then once the castle establishing shots are done, then I'll start shooting the next batch of characters. So we've already done one with Dimitri, I forget the name, Crust, I think was the name of his character. And then so we did 5 with him, and then we did 5 with Sam Del Rio as the voice of Crackle and Pop. And so we've got Drek and Sinew, so that's 10 episodes there. And then we've got Granat, who is a knight. He is done, and he's printed, and he's painted, and he's ready to go. I don't know if he has arms yet. Maybe. Arms are made out of clay. That's the last thing that happens. And then Sir Raton. So I'm trying to finish Sir Raton. And then there's Krenth, who's kind of like a flying spaghetti monster. And then Krenth has a female equivalent called Hinneth. And I need to print out that puppet and make that puppet. But that's the, 6 characters for the rest of the Dungeon Diving series so far. And then once Dungeon Diving's done, I'll start working on probably the Tuberville set's almost done, but kind of waiting on, I need to record some dialogue. I need to make some fixes to the script, but all right, that kind of looks like it'll work. Now I need to put a crease, which is this crease here. I'm going to take this off of mirror. And that may be too big for a crease. We'll see what happens here. That's crease, right? Yep. Okay. Gotta make it a little bit bigger. If you make it smaller, I'll see. Oh, was on the wrong object. Okay. It helps to be working on the right object. It's kind of like produceritis. Okay. I swear it made a difference. Okay. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Now we're starting to see some results. Okay. And then after I make the crease, then I think there's another tool where I can tighten it up a bit. Maybe, it's not too bad. Maybe make the brush a little bit smaller. There's that. So, bunch of the Tuberville 1815 Napoleonic potato characters are done. And yes, the arms will be clay and his legs will be clay. That way there's some movability, but also I can, in the clay, I can use the tools and kind of make a little hair fur type of texture on it. Okay, looks like he has butt cheeks.
It's not butt cheeks, it's my cowl.
All right. Kind of make that pretty tight in there. Okay, that's not bad. All right, I do want to smooth this part out here. Make my brush a little bit bigger. Smooth that out. Okay, that's not bad. And I do need to see if I can get this a little tighter in here. So yeah, so we're waiting to do some dialogue for Tuberville. We also need to do dialogue for Trenchfoot. So there's like 15 projects on the dry erase board. that are in some state of moving along in the production. So, you know, one of the things, how will I attach them? All right, so you at some point, I'm going to take a rectangle. Actually, I can just do it right now and show you. Okay, so let's go back to object mode. There's that, and I'll just copy the ball joint rectangle, which is here. Okay, and then there's that. Oh, did I end up doing that? Let's put that back. It's one of these. Okay, that's not doing it. All right, let's just do this. Okay. Add a mesh cube. All right, and we will call that arm socket. Okay, so then we'll bring this over here, and then we will scale it kind of like this. And that looks about right. And then we're going to bring it down. So normally I wouldn't do this until after the mesh is done, because when I try to do a remesh, it'll make the hard edges soft again. So, but I'll show you kind of what's going on here. Okay, so here's this. Maybe it'll be easier doing this way. There's that. Oops. Here we go. And we'll rotate this way. And about right there. Okay, so this basically will make a hole, a square hole, and it'll be right there. Okay, so what you do is you take the object and you add a modifier, and it's Boolean. And Boolean, if you recall, is and, or, NAND, NOR, that kind of stuff. So these the intersection, union, or difference. So we're going to leave it on difference. And basically, I've selected his upper torso. Then I'll use the eyedropper to select the arm socket, and then basically apply. Now, when I get rid of the arm socket, you see it's left a hole. All right. And so what I do then, and it looks like I also need to make a hole for in the cowl. But so what we do is basically take a wire and epoxy it in there, and that becomes his arm. And we've used that system for at least 20 puppets. I think I've got 20 puppets in boxes on the shelves the last 2 years. All right, but I'm going to undo that so that I can remesh it and then do it later. Okay, but we'll leave that rectangle there. Yep, there we go. And that's how we do it. Okay, so he's got his cowl here. And we brought a little bit up in the back. I mean, you could probably bring it a little bit more, but I would need to narrow his head a little bit so that the ball and socket would have some space, but I think it'll be fine. Okay, so now his tunic or his jacket, we're gonna work on that now. I guess I should probably save this. And we'll call it jacket. Okay. So yeah, the trench foot, the main trench set is about 2/3 done. It needs the fine work. There's a tank scale, like a 1/56 tank scale set. It needs to be finished as well, but it's probably about half done. Needs like some trees and maybe a little trench on it. And then, but for Tuberville, I was initially planning on a big 4x8 set, but I'm kind of debating whether I want to put that much effort into this set or not. But I did build a farmhouse. There's a video on it somewhere on the behind the scenes, and it turned out all right. It was kind of cool. All right, so we're gonna get that object. We're gonna sculpt, just so you can kind of see that's the coarse geometry there. And so we're going to remesh that in the sculpt mode. So we hit R, and then we kind of select. You don't want to go too fine, or else the computer. I'm not on a tower computer. This is just using my laptop, so I don't really want to go too crazy with the mesh. Plus, if I need to, I can just sand it down. But this, now you can see what the mesh looks like now. It's a little bit more fine. That may be enough. There's not a whole lot of detail that I really need to capture. You know, it's just as waste. Most of the, on these puppets, as long as, do I want to do this mirroring? I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, mirroring on, that makes me nervous. Most of the puppets, as long as you're kind of in the ballpark of what people are expecting with regards to the character. I mean, Sir Raton, okay, it sounds like a mouse, sounds like a rat. You know, and some characters like Crust, it's like, okay, that looks like a character who could be called Crust. And so I'm going to turn this artwork off here. There are some amazing models out there on Instagram. You know, on Instagram, you can follow like 7,500 people, and I'm probably like following like close to 5,000 people in the Warhammer. Our computer's thinking. In the Warhammer groups. And man, there are just some really impressive models. The idea of pretty much all these series are to tell a story. And I do like setting up the environment, or what's called the mise en scène in film. And that's basically, you know, just the feel and the atmosphere and the, you know, the music. Basically everything but the script and the acting is mise en scène. And, you know, there are outfits, the lighting, the music, the ambiance, the ambient tone, the sound effects, all of that is part of the mise en scène. It's the world that the character is in. So it's basically everything but the script slash dialogue slash acting, really the characters. And so in my shorts, I try to focus more on the mise en scène than I do on having like these really super fantastic, highly detailed models, because it really comes down to return on time investment. Maybe Sir Raton with an E on the end. I think Christine came up with the name. She is of Spanish heritage. Where was I talking? What was I yapping about? Oh, the mise en scène. So I tend to focus a little bit more on kind of the environment than I do on like having super amazing characters, because return on time investment. Because, you know, on a YouTube channel, you can decide, okay, I'm gonna make like an amazing video. So I made one amazing video. It got like, I think it's at 3,500 views now. It's a 4-minute music video on So Many Ways to Die. It won a contest in a book. Rat won. So it won a contest for my acquaintance Luke and Tyler Stratton. So I got the last page of the book. So there's my music and some pictures from the video. So I was really honored to win that. I was, you know, tickled pink. And it was, but it took 2 months. I built an 8-foot pirate ship in my basement, and I'm gonna try to use it again on Tuberville. So I have a character that's like a Commodore Admiral. All right, how tight are these sleeves? Okay. I put a little bit of a crease in it. So yeah, so there's 15 projects ongoing. I'm try to do either a live stream or a short so that there's something new every day if I can, if I have the energy and if the schedule allows for it. Like next week I'm traveling to Chicago for work, so I don't know how much I'll be able to get done. But I've really enjoyed the live streaming and stuff because it has to get the work, to make the puppets, the work has to get done. So why not just have a few people kind of along for the ride? There's really not much going on here, at least that I can tell. I mean, there's some layers over here, but it's kind of hard for me to tell what's going on. That might be just like the edge of the cowl. I mean, I could pull the cowl out a little bit, make it a little bit more. Again, my catchphrase is art is arbitrary, so I'm going to turn mirroring back on here. As long as it's in the ballpark, we can talk about nuances and discuss the. Oh, I need to put this on grab. But when your budget's low, you try to use the resources you have. So, if you got a big Hollywood budget, of course expectations are different, but it's a little bit more poofier. Bring it down a little bit. So yeah, when you're, pretty much a one-man show, program management, financier, executive producer, script writer, director, cinematographer. I'm grateful that I have some guys helping with the puppets. I got amazing artists. I got Andy Green and Florian Leidendecker and Ryan James in Australia. They're helping with the puppets, and they're absolutely amazing artists, and it is just a blessing to have them help. But yeah, I mean, all of us are doing this in part-time and, in our free hours. So, all right, let's, I'm going to call that done. I'm going to save this, and then I'll just make a new one called Pants or whatever it is. This is a pretty simple puppet. I've had some puppets that were just like modeling gloves, modeling weapons. I think, he's got a sword, right? No, I can't remember. Oh, he's got that pole arm. I think I already did that. Let me see. Yeah, I did it the other day. Come on, computer. You can do it. All right, there's his weapon. Okay, blade and dowel pin. Oh, I gotta turn this on. There it is. Oh, I was gonna just use a dowel or a stick or something for that looks like that could use a little bit higher resolution as well. Or I could just get sanded after it gets printed. All right, Sir Raton, he's getting there. So I'll work on his pants and then we'll kind of tweak his head. Technical director Jenny has strong feelings about his possum dog rat head. Okay, where were we? Let's hide that again. And lower body. Okay, there's that. So legs are going to be made out of clay. His tail. So we're going to put a socket for his tail, and I've got some covered wire from the local craft store that I'm just going to use for his tail. All right, so basically it kind of looks like he's wearing diapers. It's not really much going on here. Okay, so there's that. Sculpt, remesh, Control R to remesh. Make that a little here. I guess it would be pronounced Raton. Raton, yes. That's why he's Sir Raton. Okay. Yeah, if it's plural, it's ratones, because cuando los gatos se van en sus devociones, los ratones se van en sus devociones, they dance. Spanish. Got my other phone down here. Spanish for rat. Okay, there he goes. Rata or rato. Okay. Let's see what it says for Raton, because you came up with the name. All right, Raton in Spanish is a masculine noun that primarily means mouse. There you go. So he's Sir Mouse, Sir Raton. Okay. All right. So he's not really so much a rat as he is a mouse, even though it says rat there.
Disregard that.
Okay. All right, back to our business. So we're going to smooth out his pants, and we'll start tweaking his head, and then I think we need to do some booleans and stuff, but I need to do the booleans for the arm and the booleans for the head. Maybe tweak his mouth. Okay, so we're just going to smooth this out. I think probably what's going to help sell this as one piece is basically painting them both. I wanted to make it so that, I also need to do the axle. I wanted to make it so that he could move his torso, move his waist if he wanted to. Sometimes I hide it with a belt. I don't know what I'm going to end up doing here. You know, people are forgiving. If they're like, hey, it's a cool puppet and the joke was funny, they'll give me a like. I have not had anybody, I don't know, and however many thousands of views there are. All right. No, you are pronouncing it Raton. Yeah, Sir Raton. So it's a rat named Sir Mouse. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Where was I? Oh, I've never had any. I mean, I have people say like, "Oh, this is fun," or "This is cool," or "Oh, this or that." I never have anybody complain about, you know, the puppet design. You don't see a whole lot of stop motion on YouTube. There are some amazing stop motion folks, but there's not. I mean, frankly, there's not a whole lot of new animation. I had a phrase for it, I can't remember what it was, but you know, new novel channels that have animation. You know, there's 99 different types of YouTube channels out there, but not a whole lot creating new material, new IP. All right. So his leg is gonna be, so it's gonna be there. Okay, so there's that. All right, Shift D. There it goes. Now it's working. Okay, so there's that. So that'll be his leg pinpoint. And there's that. Oh, I need to get rid of this picture here. There we go. All right, and then I think that mesh is fine. I'm going to fix some stuff in the back. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't need to be super high resolution. It can look a little boxy and pixelated, and then when it prints, I'll just sand it down. All right, so we're going to move this kind of right here. Okay. All right, so those will be the points where his legs go in, and that's where his little mousy tail, rat-tony tail would go. Oh, I think I kept it straight like that to give the. We're not going to see his backside. He's not a. For my my shorts, you pretty much only see the front side of the puppet. I mean, it's basically going to be like I might do a 3/4 cowboy. So that's a 3/4 kind of medium shot. That's a 3/4 cowboy, kind of where you just see a little bit of their legs. You know, this is a close up, kind of like that. The characters with big noses can be tough, though, because I have to find a place where to focus on. But that's neither here nor there. All right, so we need to copy this guy and bring him over here. Should just copy this leg one. Okay, there's that. Move it over a little bit. And there's this. It's going to need some rotation. Okay. All right, so I'm going to Boolean those. I also need to put a cylinder in there if I don't have one already. Lower body. Nope, I don't have one. So he can move his waist, do a little mouse dance, what have you. Okay, usually I make these kind of wide. It tends to make the puppet a little bit more stable if the pinpoint is, or the axle is G and then Y. If the axle is kind of broad in proportion to the character. Okay, oops, hit the wrong key. There we go. There we go. Okay, so kind of see. We'll put X-ray mode. All right, I'm actually gonna lower that. We need to call that. Where is that cylinder? Nope. Nowhere to go. There it is. Okay, so this is waist axle. Come on, computer. Another reason to march the nose shorter. Yes, we could make his nose shorter. We could indeed. Come on, computer. All right, file, save. This is not that big a file, but my computer is really old. I get these Macs used on Amazon, and they're 10 to 12 years old, so they're not the latest and greatest, but they don't cost very much. So maybe when the kids are out of college, I can get a fancy computer. But that just means reinstalling all the software, so it's like, ugh. Okay. That's not bad. He's a little blocky back here, but I'll just end up sanding it. It won't matter. Okay, and I kept this flat here in the front to make it look like a loincloth. I'm gonna bring these up just a little bit because I have to kind of imagine where his legs are gonna be. Kind of about right there. And this needs to get rotated a little bit. Oops, let's scale. Rotate. Okay. All right, yeah, let me take care of these Booleans and we'll go fart around with his face. Okay, or we can just save that stuff for later. That's more just the mechanics of it. Okay, file, save as. Head tweaks. Oops, I don't like to shout. Okay, head tweaks. Or are we at D1? Okay. All right, so Possum Raton. Technical director Jenny, you are a character. All right, so there's where his the wire will get epoxied in for his arm, his left arm, for his left leg, for his right leg, and basically I'll smooth out that transition with the clay. Where's the reference art? There we go. So it'll be a little bit. He's in some kind of crazy pose, so it's like in an action pose. I am Action Rat. So we'll figure that out when we get to the point where we're making his legs. We'll kick that issue down the street. Kick that can down the street. All right, so we got his axle. We've got his ball and socket. So, all right, so let's tweak his head a little bit. We're kind of almost done with him. This portion of him. All right, so, oh, okay. So I was going to make a little bit of a line here for, and it's on mirror, right? Okay, yeah. For that, kind of that fabric, how am I going to do that? I pull this out a little bit. Maybe bring this down and maybe have the fabric point like right here along this crease. Maybe crease this here. Make it a little bit more square. See what we're doing on the other side. That's not bad. Oh, and he's going to have LED lights, so a lot of this detail might end up getting just kind of blown out by the LED lights. But we'll, so this will be like where the mask, his actually fabric or whatever material we end up using will get attached. Probably need to bring that in a little bit so there's some space for the mask material, so it's not kind of bulging out. Smooth that out a little bit. All right, so we'll address that issue. All right, now Technical Director Jen says, I need to fix the ears, and what else did she say? She wants the nose shorter. Okay, so I think she messaged me some pictures, but guess we'll just go to Safari here. Type in mouse. Rat. All right. That guy's cute. Rat head. Images. There you go. That guy's cute. See, this he's got a bit of a nose to him. Mouse head mask. He's got a, okay, so it's, there's a sculpt of a mouse. Just steal this idea here. Ah, Turbo Squid. My Safari's so old, I don't know if it'll pull up Turbo Squid or not. Okay, let's try this. There it goes. Okay. Shutterstock. Okay, let's see if we can steal a Shutterstock picture. A macro close-up of a female rat's head. Okay, so we will just do a screen grab. Come over to here. Go to desktop. And there is today's screen grab. And the computer's been really slow, unless it actually did it grab the, it did actually. All right, let's try it again. There we go. All right, so where's the other one we just did? Right here. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so here's our little reference picture, crop, file rename, mouse head or rat head. All right, and then we will go into Blender. We will add in object mode. We will add a reference drawing, reference image from the desktop. Mouse head, there it is. There's our picture of our mouse. All right, now let's make this a little bit smaller, and we probably need to get rid of the, oops, get rid of the rotation information. 0, no, it wants that apparently. 90, there we go. 0 and 90, no, 0. There we go. Okay. Pull that back out. Move this little mouse head over here. Okay, so it is a little bit shorter. He doesn't really have, it looks like it's more of a straight line. Kind of this shape right here. Let's do this. Let's rotate him around the z-axis. I could also duplicate that. but that way we can kind of see it a little bit better. All right, so 90 degrees. Oops. Minus 90. There we go. Okay. Now, so he's kind of got, not counting I think a lot of it is the ears. I think I just need to redo the ears. Might just end up, well, so I stole this cartoon rat head from Sketchfab and started with it and then just started tweaking everything. And it had this kind of, these dog ears. But I really need to rotate the ears. I think, what did he, yeah, so his ears are more coming off the x-axis as opposed to kind of being more z-axis. All right, so there's that. I should probably name this picture mouse head ref. Bring it down here. Okay, so definitely want to mess with the ears, and then I'm just going to change the shape of his nose just a little bit. And I'll probably end up adding some whiskers, practical whiskers. Maybe get some fishing wire, fishing line, like really, really. Actually, we probably wouldn't want it to be too thin, because if it's too thin, it won't show up on the camera. But I might make like 3 or 4 holes with a drill here. I probably am not going to, if the hole is really small, sometimes the resin printer has problems dealing with that. So I'll just drill holes using I've got some fine drill bits. Okay, so going back to sculpt mode, and probably just gonna pull this down so it looks less kind of bulbous. I don't know, that's not bad, because that bulb on the end, it kind of looked like a cartoon possum. Okay, I'm still on mirror, which is fine, so. Okay, I'm just gonna pull this out a little bit. He's also got kind of more of a rounded nose. Maybe pull this down a little bit. It was hard to tell from Pascal's drawing, kind of the head shape. That's not bad. I don't know. What do you guys think? All right. Okay. I'm going to take the mirror off and kind of smooth this out a bit. All right, then it's just ears. Then we just got to fart with the ears. See, he doesn't really have there's not really a nose line like maybe on a dog or an opossum. Not an expert on animal physics or whatever they call that, anatomy. Okay, but I do have a reference picture of a mouse head, female at that. Okay. All right, Sir Raton, that's not bad. Maybe pull this up a little bit. Flatten that out a little bit. It's interesting. It looks a little like he's been in a couple of battles, kind of like that. All right, so now we're gonna work on his ears. This is gonna be a project, I think, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so we'll just call it ears. Ears, and we'll hit the plus button to make it go to 2, and we'll save it. There we go. Okay, now, all right, so these ears, what do we do with these ears? It's like I need to rotate them. Oh, this is going to be a project. Okay. Now there is a swirly function. I'm wondering if this swirly function, snake hook, it's going to need to be on. I wonder if this will do anything. Yeah, that's helping. What if I do it with a bigger brush? I think that other brush looked better. I don't do a lot of swirly brush. This may end up looking just kind of screwy. Because this whole thing needs to rotate. Oh, is there a better way of doing this? So that's the thing about CG, is there's so many ways to do things. All right, I might try to do this. We might try to do this. Okay, so add a lattice, and there's the lattice information. Okay, it doesn't need to be a very intricate lattice. This might be crazy enough to work, but the problem is if I start rotating this, it might end up, I might need to doing a bunch of stuff in his head. But we'll see. All right, so there's our lattice. Now we are going to add a lattice modifier. Is this selected? There we go. Add a lattice modifier. Where is lattice? Here's lattice. Okay, and the okay, the object is this lattice. All right, now we have to go into edit mode, right? No, okay, it's been a while since I used lattice. I think I just select the lattice. We'll see how this works here. Everything's up here. There we go. Now, if we rotate this, it should. Oh, I didn't get the connection right. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so it's this one here is a lattice, and then okay, so does this need to be? Oh, does this need to be in edit mode? I forget how to do lattice. Okay, so there's this that has the lattice deformer. And it should be, it's connected to the lattice. So now if we come to lattice and go to edit mode for the lattice, and let's just pick a, where's the vertices? There it goes. Yeah, see, it's not affecting the geometry. What am I doing wrong? Okay, I've got the lattice, and I've got this. You know, if I can't remember, we might have to try something else. Okay, there's that. And it's lattice deformer, right? Okay, add modifier. Lattice. It's going to be this guy right here. Now it it should be that when I go to here, it should affect the geometry. So now I go here, but it's not. What am I doing wrong? Okay, edit mode. It's like it's not attached to the right lattice. It's lattice. All right. Oh, no, it doesn't have anything to do with this. All right, we'll try a different way. Okay. I wasn't so sold that that was going to work anyway. Okay, so get rid of the lattice. Okay, now object mode. There's this. Get rid of the lattice. All right, now I'm irritated by that. Okay, add an object, a mesh cube. Okay, there's that. We'll make it smaller. There's that. Now, let's go into sculpt mode. I could do a couple different ways of doing this, but we'll just make it like that. Control R. Now we go to edit mode. It's got some stuff on it. Okay, that's fine. Now we're going to go into object mode and do lattice deformer. We're going to add a lattice, which is over there. Here's that. This lattice properties. We'll give it some of that. We'll make it bigger. We'll put the lattice over the cube. Okay. Now we'll come to this object. It has a lattice deformer. We're going to select this. There's the lattice. Now I need to go back to the lattice, and there. Why is it not changing? Something's. All right, I'm beguiled why this lattice deformer isn't working. Because it should be. There it goes. Okay, why wasn't it? All right, now we're lattice deforming. Okay, well, that's the way I thought it was working. Okay. Now, let's get rid of this and get rid of this. Okay, now let's see if we can go back and see if we can use the lattice method on this head. Okay, so we want to add a lattice, and we'll bring him right over here, and we'll make him like that, and like that. And he needs to be over the object we want to deform. He needs to be a little bit bigger, but not too big. And then he needs to be rotated, kind of maybe about like this, and then about right there, like that. Make him a little bigger. Okay. So that's the lattice. I don't know how this is going to work, but we'll see. All right, now I'm going to select this object, add a lattice deformer, and we're going to use this lattice right here. Okay, then we go to the lattice. I said lattice so many times it doesn't sound like a real word. All right. Now, I guess we can try this, see if this works. Okay, that's all the lattice points. Scale. All right, that's working. Okay, it's just making everything crazy though. Okay, so it's attached now. How are we going to do this so that it just doesn't turn into craziness? I think it's just going to turn into craziness anyway. So we can deform the ears, but I don't know if I'm going to have much luck. Getting that to rotate like I want it to. Yeah, see, that's rotating all of his head. All right, back to sculpt mode. We tried it. Wasn't really very successful. Okay, I might just end up having to make new ears for him. Chop these ears off. Like I said, there are many ways to catch a mouse in Blender. Okay, let's try this now. Just make new ears. Might be easiest than trying to get these to work. Select the object, sculpt mode. Let's see if there's anything we can do with the existing geometry or not. Let's see if we can just start pulling things around. It might just end up looking funky. Could try that swirly one. Snake hook. What is this? Thumb. This just might end up being crazy. Again, back to return on time investment. All right, smooth that out. He's gonna have some messed up ears. He's been in a lot of battles. All right. Also, this shape. It's got kind of more of a teardrop shape, and these definitely look like dog ears. Looking more and more odd. Yes. I'm going to be optimistic. I'm an optimist. All right. So, what are we on this thumb tool? What's this thing do? Elastic deform. Problem is I want it to spin. I may just end up having to delete the mesh and start from scratch. Yeah, that's kind of turning the ears. These need to kind of come back. It's debatable whether we're heading in the right direction or not, or just going down a rabbit hole. I don't want him to look like a pig. He's got pig ears now. All right. Let's smooth it out a little bit. So if you haven't watched me before, I talk about the mesh or the geometry. So this is basically a hollow volume right here, so we can go inside like a liminal space, like the back rooms. All right, but when you're printing these for 3D print, like if you're rendering this for an animation, you can get away with some things. But when you're printing it, it has to stay a solid volume, or else the slicing program just doesn't know what to do. And so when you're modeling, you have to take that into mind, especially when you're using pre-existing elements like here, like we've been doing. All right, now I've got some kind of, I need to pull this geometry out, or else it's, oh, I'm not on the, I need to be on get. Okay, there we go. Smooth that out a bit. Okay, smooth that out a little bit. Think, according to our picture, we need to pull this back in a little bit. Here's that. Pull that out a little bit. Maybe make the brush a little smaller. Like a plastic surgeon for a mouse here. I mean, all this stuff on the inside just kind of looks like it's his ear parts. We're kind of getting it. I need to pull this little notch out and smooth it. Okay, let's smooth that a little bit. Smooth that out a little bit. Sir Raton has seen some battles. He is a warrior. His poor little ears. All right, if I can flatten that out a bit. There it goes. Okay. His poor little ears have seen. Now he looks like kind of a pinch, like a Doberman or something. All right. What is that hook on the top? You mean the top of his ear? All right. So we need to flatten that out. I'm going to smooth this out a little bit. He's got like a cancerous lump. Okay. I need to pull this in. And then this needs to kind of come down. So this needs to get pulled down. Like this right here needs to come out and over. So I got to pull all these vertices. So this mesh is made up of vertices. Right? So basically I'm pushing and pulling all of these vertices. And they need to stay attached, because if they don't stay attached, the slicer program freaks out. And so basically we have this certain amount of clay, but we have to reshape the clay into the shape that we want. And what is that hook on top? Okay. Well, we'll come back to this other ear. He was supposed to be following, but he's kind of not following. Okay, so back to reconstructive ear surgery. I need to be on G. Why am I not on G? Did I hit shift? Does this get? Oh, grab yeah, okay, there it is. All right, so let's kind of work this like a plastic surgeon. And he's got more of that teardrop shape. So this right here needs to just kind of come in. It needs to get squished. All right, we can make him better. He's the $6 million rat. Oops. I went and hit the wrong button. Okay. Now I hope we are heading in the right direction for Mr. Raton and his rat ears. This needs to come down. All right, that needs to come down. Also, the ears kind of go straight or vertical. So, this is a mess. It might have been better off just starting from scratch. All right, so it's like these need to come in. Yes, watch Matt make mouse ears. Okay. Making mouse ears out of a molehill. All right. Sir Raton has got him some messed up ears. Okay, now there's a little bit of a peak. So this needs to kind of come in. It's got kind of a nice circular shape to it. All right, so there's that. And this kind of peaks up, but then it kind of starts to come down. All right, you've got some messed up ears, dude. Okay.
I can't help it. I've been in very many battles.
All right. I don't know what Sir Raton. Well, I do know. Actually, he has a bit of a New Jersey accent. Because that's where Christine grew up. Okay, so guess I need to start pulling this out this way. Okay. You know, nobody's going to say, oh, your rat has ears that don't look mouse-like, except for technical director Jen. All right, Jenny. We're getting there, I think. This has to be flatter, like he hasn't seen so many battles. This needs to come down, and this needs to come back this way. All right. Okay, and this needs to come down a little bit. All right, is it looking more like a mouse here? I don't know. He's Sir Raton. He's rat, mouse, possum thing. Okay. Maybe he's crossed with a dog. Okay, so the thing is, all of this needs to come back this way. Still, the ears don't fold over on top, though. You mean you want them to fold over, or they shouldn't fold over? Don't worry about the left ear for now. We're just working on the right ear now. All right, so I'm going to make this a little bit here. I'm going to try to fix this kind of edge here. Is there much edge to that? No, it's pretty thin. Okay. Boy, those are some messed up ears, Sir Raton. Okay, now this, I'm going to end up with a gap here, I think. Oh, Sir Raton, your ears. What are we going to do with your ears? Your battle-scarred ears. See, that in the reference drawing, his ears are flat. Like they don't stick up, so. All right, they don't fold except near the head. Well, yeah, okay. I mean, I'll work on his left ear in a second. Okay, or in 10 minutes. Okay, there's this. Let's pull this over here. We lost we lost viewer number 5. He'd had enough of me talking about ears. I have a fun time watching the viewer count go up and down. You know, I'm the same way. It's like I'll watch an artist for 10 or 15 minutes, and it's like, okay, you know what? I have other things to do. All right, but it's fun. I'll tend to watch maybe sports or politics live streaming a little bit longer than I will art. But there's been some like podcasts and stuff of some guys that have really been inspirational, and I've really learned a lot. So, and maybe if I'm doing something else, I'll leave them on just to listen to them talk. So I understand people have other things to do than watch a guy mess with the plastic surgery of a rat's ear. Okay, can you find reference ears because they still don't look great? Well, there's reference right here, right there. See, there's reference here. But he's battle scarred, you know. He's Sir Raton. He's got unique ears. Okay. I got that kind of shape on the outside. Now these are. See, it's got kind of this round teardrop shape to it, with a peak, and then that comes down. Like that. I think that's looking a little bit more mouse-like. I think you'll spend too much time trying to fix these than just attaching new template ears. Okay. I mean, that's something I could do. I could find some ears and then pin them on, and then maybe they could rotate or something. Because he's got the mask. I don't know. Let's see what Sketchfab has. Do they have a thing called mouse ears? Okay. Mouse ears. Alright, it's all Mickey Mouse ears. There's... see those? It's like big dishes. He's got some ears, but see, those are like big dishes too. See, this doesn't even, I mean, that's doesn't even really look like the reference ears. See, this mouse, he's got some nice ears. Can I download him? Steal his ears? All right. Which format do we want? We'll do GLB. Okay. And then there it is right there. And it's in downloads. And there's this right here. Oops, here we go. There's that. Oh, hi, technical director Jen.
Utterly painful to watch.
Yeah, a man with his ears, and the vet tech doesn't like the ears.
No, they're bad. They're real bad. So I'm talking about the fold part. I'm talking about the part that's closest to the head is what folds over, like here. But then they open up flat from like here on out.
Well,
so it's just this part that's folded over.
I'll squish these down and
they're rounded. Right now they're still pointy.
Yeah, I'll steal the ears off this one guy. Fat mouse sitting cute stylized. Alright, there's that, and here's this. And we'll put it in Blender. And this is these of Skull. And it's in Dungeon Diving. And Sir Raton. Okay, we'll paste him there. Or not. No, we won't paste him there. Okay. Fat mouse sitting. Copy. Go back. Paste it there. There's fat mouse sitting. Alright, now file import GLB. Fat mouse sitting. There he is right there. He's apparently pretty tiny. There is fat mouse sitting. Okay, move him over here. He looks like a chocolate bunny. Alright, there's that. She likes those ears apparently. So let's go to the mesh. Edit mode. Oh, this is weird. Okay. Select box, object. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I can't use this mesh. It's got some weird parsing to it. Can use it as a reference. Or I could just say that's his ears. Okay. Again, sometimes you just have to figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work. Okay. So let's just go back to farting with his ears and then we'll call it a day. All right, so select that, sculpt mode. Let's pull these down. Okay, pull these out here. Okay. Now if we want it to be more like the drawing, I'm going to bring these down. So maybe he'll just be less mousy and more like the drawing. Okay. Because those ones are kind of flat. Is that kind of flat? Yeah, that's kind of flat. Okay, now I'm going to take this mirror off. Gotta pull this up. And I'm going to take this reference out. And then kind of pull this down. This will get pulled in. Okay. Smooth this out. Try not to mess up this mesh. Ooh, I think I already messed it up. Okay. Yeah, there it goes. All right. Sometimes the smooth function kind of messes with the mesh. Yeah, see, it's making a hole. Okay. All right, we need to pull this out before we start smoothing. There it goes. Okay. The issue with the drawing is that it's showing the ears in a roasted backward direction, like when a cat flattens its ears in anger. Well, you know, Sir Raton did not have a good relationship with his father, and so he's just always kind of angry. He also has some self-esteem issues. That's why he wears a mask. All right. That is one messed up ear, Sir Raton. Okay, let's pull that back. That's mesh is kind of a mess. I need to blob it. All right. And then flatten it, see if that helps. Okay. All right, we're getting anywhere with this ear, this other ear. Okay. Okay, there's that. Sir Raton with his messed up ears. Okay. And again, you know what? Nobody's probably going to be looking at the ears. They're going to be watching his mouth move for the 3 seconds that he's on screen. But we'll spend a little time. Oh, that is one messed up looking ear. Okay. We need some reconstructive surgery, doctor. All right. This is a problem when you have the mirror on and you're not paying attention to the other ear. Okay. He's just one mangled ear. Yes, but isn't this for jokes? He wouldn't be mad. Well, I can play you some of the dialogue, but yeah, he's not mad. You're right. He might be mad after seeing these ears, though. Okay, here we go. Let's pull that out. Boy, that's one messed up looking geometry. Okay, let's pull this back. Pull that out. Okay, let's pull this way, but not too much. Make my brush bigger. Is it just inflate? Is that inflate? Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can get this to kind of pull up. I don't know if it's pulling the underside mesh or not. That looks like it's okay. Blender can be a little weird with some of these tools. Like it will operate on both sides of the mesh when you don't want it to. Now this is kind of a hot mess over here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Sir Raton. He has high serotonin levels. That's a bad joke. Okay. 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 Yeah, there's one messed up ear, Sir Raton. All right. Let's pull this out a little bit. And this up here is just a mess. Okay. Need to save this. Okay. Yeah, it's not a very big file. It's 45 megabytes. Megabytes is not very big. I've had some that are 10 times as big as that, and it's just takes the laptop forever. There's not really a whole lot going on here. Okay, other than this hot mess of an ear. Okay. Sir Raton has some messed up ears. And we're getting a crease in here. Oy. Okay, let's try inflate, see if we can smooth that out. And the mesh is starting to pull in on itself. Okay, can I flatten this? I don't know if there's much I can do about this mesh. There. It's too far gone, doctor. Okay, so make this a little bit bigger. Let's see if we can pull some of that out. Pull that out a little bit. There's that. All right. Still has kind of a dog look to it, but he's Sir Raton. Maybe his dad was a dog. Okay. Again, return on time investments. I could have started from scratch. Probably should have. I don't know. We're kind of down this rabbit hole. That kind of ear is chipped up. He's had some rough times, you know. The ears are the first to go. All right, so there's that. And here's his picture. There's that. Where's that? Okay, there's that. Oops. Object mode. Grab. All right, so these ears are kind of flat on top. So, I don't know, they kind of look like horse ears. All right, what to do? Okay, so object mode, sculpt. Maybe use a bigger brush. Kind of maybe pull these ears down a little bit. It does have a little bit of curl at the end, kind of like a cow or a horse. Thankfully, the ears are the last thing we're working on. And they're definitely going to be asymmetric. Okay, I probably still need to fix that bit back there. All right, let me smooth that a little bit out, and then I'm probably gonna just call it a day. Because I think, I need to do the booleans. Okay, anything I can do to fix this ear a little bit better? Pull some of this out. He just got a messed up ear. It's like that cauliflower ear you get when you wrestle. I wrestled in high school many years ago, and I had a record unblemished by victory. I was 0-11. And then the next, that was my 10th grade year, I think. And then the next winter, I worked at the music store. And that was kind of a lot more fun than wrestling hot and sweaty boys. All right. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Okay. I've got this little gap here, which I guess is just going to be his little clip, but I don't like this. I don't like this thing here. Looks like a dog, not a rat or mouse. Oh, technical worker Jen, just work with me on this. she's just not going to be happy. Okay. See, look at his ears. See, that's the way his ears are, right? Okay. I'll convince myself I'm doing the right thing here. Okay, but this does need to come out a little bit. Okay, there's that. Kind of smooth that out a little bit. Got kind of a mangle there. This might need to come down a little bit. Smooth it out if I can. Alright, bring that out a little bit. Okay. Bring that in there a little bit. Okay. And then those kind of point up. White is just too much. Okay, there's that. Oops. Come on, computer. You can do it. There we go. All right. There's that. Forward looking. There's that one. I mean, give him some whiskers. Kind of looks like a rat mouse. I mean, it looks not too far from the ears of the reference drawing, even though the fronts come down some more. So it does look a little doggy-eared. But you know what? It's getting to be kind of late. It's 8 o'clock here in the Mountain Time Zone, so got other projects I want to work on. I'm going to say, Sir Raton, who knows what your dad look was? You got some kind of messed up ears. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to say go to object mode. I'm going to save this. All right, now we got to do the booleans. And then I'll probably, I don't know if I have the energy to do the slicing tonight, but well, at least we'll do the booleans because they've already been going for an hour and a half. Okay, I'm going to just print this as one piece. The head and the jaw will be 2 different pieces. We already did the indentation there for his jaw to go up and down. It might take a little bit of sanding to get some of that material out of there so his jaw can go up and down. Come on, computer. Dogs also have whiskers. Well, maybe Sir Raton has some dog blood in him. You know, they say that he's got the dog in him. Okay, so now we'll just do some booleans. All right, add modifier boolean, and we're going to select this right here and apply it. And so if we make it go away, it should go away. Where is the, there it is, arm socket. There we go. All right, so that's the hole for the wire for his arm. Okay, and we'll do the same thing over here. We'll add a Boolean modifier. We will select the object as that right there. We will apply, and we'll make it go away. It's that guy right there. Okay, there we go. Got a hole for his epoxied wire. Okay, so now let's do the leg bits. Also don't need these legs, these reference legs, they can go bye-bye. Okay, and then here's this, and I add a Boolean, and it's going to be this right here, and then we're going to apply, and then we need to make it go away. Okay, there we go. And there's this. We're going to add a modifier, a boolean. It's going to be this right here. That's there. We're going to apply. There we go. Got a hole for his leg. Now we got to do another boolean for his tail hole. All right, there's that. And then there's this right here. And then we're going to apply. And where's the tail cylinder? There we go. There's a hole for his tail. Now we've got the, I'm going to save this real quick and get rid of this picture. File, save as. Parts. D4, because we're making the parts. Okay, save as again. All right, so he's not bad. I think once he gets the legs and arms on him and his little tail, he'll look like a little mouse, rat, dog creature that tells funny jokes in a New Jersey accent. All right, and then, oh, we need to do the waist. So usually I make the axle as part of the lower body. So what we'll do then is the first thing we'll do is we'll just make him go away. And then now I do need to make this smaller when I actually attach it to the body. So there's this, or else it's just super hard to get the two pieces to fit together. Apply. Now, did I call it waist axle? There it is. Okay. So there's the hole. Now I think usually I make it like 3% smaller. So scale, now I need a calculator here. Calculator 0.66. Is it working? Yeah. Times 0.97. All right. 0.64. Come on, computer. There we go. All right. So 0.64. 0.64. And just for good measure, 0.64. All right, so we should see a little bit of a gap in there. Okay, so we see the gap. I made it about 3% smaller. Usually 5% is too big. That way when it prints, it'll take hopefully a minimum amount of sanding to get those two pieces to fit together. So now I'm gonna take this and the waist axle and his lower body, and I'm gonna join those together in holy matrimony. He's also missing the critical two front teeth that are hallmarks of rats and mice. Like these ones here. Does that work? I can make those bigger if you want. Okay. What was I doing? Oh, I was joining these two pieces. Okay, this piece and waist axle. Oops. It's coming in here, I guess. Okay, there we go. Waist axle and I'm just gonna shift this. Nope. Waist axle and this, and then join. Okay, now they're all in one piece. Okay, so if we, there we go. Ooh, that cowl needs. That's gonna be a mess if I don't sculpt that cowl back. Okay, object mode, sculpt, take it off mirror. Okay, and then just pull all this material back up. Okay. Okay, needs to be out of the way of that. Because really this is on top of that cube. Okay, there's that. this needs to be all the way out of that. And then we'll need to do the neck. The neck piece will probably have to be out of the cowl, but we'll see. That's just a danger when you have two different pieces on top of each other. Okay, so that's out of the way of that. And what was that called? Vest. Okay, so there's that. All right, Sir Raton. There's that. Where's my reference drawing? Yeah. Does he have teeth? And he's got a nose. He's just got a lot of choppers. Okay. Oh, there's a close-up. He just got lots of sharp teeth. Okay. I can make those front teeth bigger. Let's go back to what we were doing before. Now, this, I may end up having to double Boolean that. Okay, so there's the skull. And this is going to use neck cube to make the hole and apply. Okay, so now if we get rid of the cowl, and I don't need this picture. Okay. That should make a hole. Let's see here. Where's the neck cube? There it is. It didn't. I don't think it did it. I don't think it worked. Object mode. There's that. There's this. Why is that orange? All right, let's try this again. Neck cube. Oh, that's lattice. I don't need this lattice anymore. All right, select this Boolean modifier with this object. And then, oh, come on, you can think. Okay, and apply. Okay. Technical director Jenny has sent me a picture, and it is a picture of rat teeth. All right, I'll give you. I'll make some big teeth for him. Okay. Neck cube. All right, there's our hole for our ball and socket in the skull. Now let's put the. He's gonna need it actually in two parts. He's going to need it in the vest because the vest is really high, and he's also going to need it in the cowl. Okay, so neck cube's back on. Select that. Boolean. Object is the neck cube. Where's neck cube? Let's do that there. And apply. Okay, so now there should be a hole in here. If we get rid of this, there's the hole. Okay, but we're also going to need a hole in the cowl. Okay, and so let's just hide the skull for now. Show the neck cube. There's that. Select the cowl, make a Boolean right there. And there's the Boolean, and here's the object, and there's the neck, and here's the apply. And then that cube goes bye-bye. All right, so now there's a hole in the cowl and a hole in the upper torso, or what I call vest, for that. And then I think besides the teeth, we're almost ready. Okay, she wanted some bigger teeth. All right, 2 hours, that's not bad. I think we put 3 or 4, 5 sessions, so maybe between 8 to 10 hours we've been working on the model. It's not horrible, it's a day's work, right? Okay, rat skull. We don't need the neck cube anymore, so we're gonna get rid of it. There's that. We don't need rat reference anymore. We're going to get rid of it. This Sketchfab model, we're going to get rid of that. Tail cylinder, we don't need. That, I don't know what that is. Just cleaning up the bring up the items, the objects here. Get rid of those. Okay. He's got his messed up ears. He needs some bigger teeth. He's gonna have some. We're gonna print some legs. Gonna have wires in there. Okay. And he's got his wrist. What's wrist? I don't need to print wrists. I got plenty of wrists. Okay, trousers. What's trousers? Oh, these are references. Don't need that. Don't need trousers. Oh, there's his blade. We do need his blade. And do I need to smooth that out? I might smooth that out a little bit. Dowel pin. Oh, that's a hole. All right, so we need to. Did I boolean that yet? Nope, I didn't. Okay, so select this, add modifier, boolean, and the object is going to be the dowel pin. Ooh, it's not too bad, I guess. All right, and then apply. Get rid of the dowel pin. Oh, sometimes I have problems with Blender doing this. Like it did an intersection instead of a difference. Oh, you know what? That probably needs higher resolution geometry to make it work. So let's go to edit mode. Yeah, that's probably, I don't know if it's going to do that. So we need some better geometry. All right, so we'll remesh this. Control R. Okay. And then now, hopefully that'll work. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and smooth this out though. Make it a little like, oops. What are we doing here? There we go. Okay. Okay, that's his pole arm blade. Okay, now hopefully there's enough geometry there. Actually, let's do this. Undo. Let's make this smaller. Well, that is not, I don't know if that's enough geometry or not. We can try, but let's do this. Sculpt mode. R. Let's go down to here. Control R. Okay. Edit mode. Okay, it looks a little bit better. Okay. Edit mode. Now, let's actually object mode. Object mode. Okay, add a modifier like boolean. We're going to do difference. It's going to be with this dowel pin. And I think that worked. We'll see here. There we go. That worked. Okay. So that's where the wooden dowel will go. All right. So we don't need this dowel pin anymore. And we will save. Okay. Now I think the only other thing we're missing is his teeths. She wanted some teeths. Just move him closer there. Okay, Sir Raton coming together with his messed up ears. Okay, she sent me a picture of this mouse with these teeth. Okay, so we need to work on these teeth here. Sculpt. Let's maybe we'll blob them out a little bit, inflate. Okay, zoom in a little bit. Oh, maybe let's get his, well, I need that jaw to be there so I know how fat to make these teeth. Kind of blob it a little bit. Is that blobbing? Yeah, it's blobbing. Okay. Okay. There it goes. All right, let's blob his twofers. He needs to blob this one too. Okay. Alright, take a note real quick here. Okay. Change camera rotation points, which I think is 3-axis, and switch objects and sculpt mode. Even though I don't know when the next time I'm going to be modeling, but stuff I need to look at. Okay, I'll put you there. All right. Let's blob his teeth a little bit more. Give him some big old fangs. Okay. Curve. Okay. It's got some kind of weird shape to it. Okay. Alright. Object mode, 3D cursor. Set origin to geometry. Is it Alt? Forget the command to reset the camera. Okay, there it goes. Yeah, it's Alt, middle button. Okay. If you make those two teeth on the side bigger, you're just going to make it look more like a dog. Okay. Well, maybe Sir Raton is just going to end up looking like a dog. Okay. It's a dog's life, right, Sir Raton? Okay, there's that. Object mode, sculpt. All right, and then I'm going to bring this in a little bit. It's got some kind of weirdness here. Let's see if we can smooth that out. I need the smaller. It just wants to be that way, doesn't it? It's got this little poke. It's like one vertices. It's just like, oh no, I'm staying out here. All right. She says don't waste any more time on it. Okay. Well, we're almost done for the night. Then when I get some energy, we'll start printing it. Okay, there he goes. Maybe he looks like a chihuahua. I don't know. He's Sir Raton. When he gets his tail on and his hairy legs, maybe he'll look more. All right, I don't need these pieces here. I have plenty of these pieces. Joints. All right, so yeah, I don't need more of these. Let's get rid of this. And get rid of this. And then get rid of this. And get rid of that. Okay. All right, well, there's Sir Raton with his blade. Maybe he looks like Sir Perro the dog. I don't know. He's a little doggy-like, but he's Sir Raton. When he gets his long tail on, I think he'll look like a little mouse. He's just got a New Jersey accent. Okay. All right, it's time for me to go eat some cereal or something for dinner. There's Sir Raton. Well, thank you so much for helping. Thank you, Technical Director Jenny, for all of your comments and your input. I think he's going to be ready to print. And we'll save. And then we'll say, have a good evening, or a good day, or a good morning, wherever you're at. See you next time.
Hey, Scully! Yar! Stinkosaurus.
Oh, right.